Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Okay, today we're talking about loneliness, and we're bringing it up again because there's a new study that came out and it's been in the news about loneliness and this epidemic that is worse than COVID, really.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really bad then,
Yeah.
right?
For those of you who've been listening to this podcast since 2020, the reason why I started this podcast in 2019, started recording sessions, was because of the loneliness and isolation that we were seeing with people. And I had read a study that was by, I don't know, forget the name, but it was health insurance did this study of 54,000 individuals. And there was this overwhelming result, which was evidence of people being lonely, feeling lonely and alone and isolated. And that's why I started the podcast, was to let people know that you're not alone, that these issues, that so much of what we all deal with, we're all dealing with, that it's not just you. So that article came out around the time that 2018, 2019, I kept thinking to myself in my office, these clients that I'm seeing throughout the day, so many of their issues are similar and they think they're alone. And obviously for confidentiality and HIPAA reasons, they can't know who each other is other than maybe passing each other by in the waiting room. But I so badly wanted them to meet each other because I would be like, oh, you would like that person and that person would really like that person. And those two have a lot in common and those two couples really get along. I would think this to myself. It could never happen.
Yeah.
Would never become a reality. And I thought there's got to be a way for me to bring out the common issues and problems that we think we're the only one. We're the only one. Study comes out and I thought, all right, that's it. I'm starting this podcast. I'm going to pay it forward and share with all of you what it is that I have seen in my practice and in my personal life over all these years. And if you can glean anything from my professional experience and from personal experience, then that would be wonderful. And it's my gift to you. So that's why the whole thing started more than 5 years ago now.
So think about that. So the study happened pre-COVID.
Yeah. I read it in 19,
Yeah.
early 19.
And then what happened?
Look what COVID did. Everything went into shutdown
Right.
the world over. And everybody was stuck and isolated in their homes. Whether you wanted to be, you didn't want to be, you had no choice. My cousin in Northern Italy, I was over there in 23 visiting him, and they have many people in Europe live in apartments. They don't have homes like we do here, single family homes with lots like we do here in the United States. It's a much older continent and it's crowded. And so they have a bar on the first floor and they have apartments above it, which the families all live in. And I was talking to my one cousin. I said something about how was it during COVID here? And he said, it was terrible. It was like under martial law. You could not leave your apartment. And for those of you who are listening, who are not in the United States, who are other parts of the world, you know what I'm talking about. You and I, Tim, we didn't live this. He said you could not leave other than to go, I think, to the pharmacy, the clinic, or maybe the grocery store, or what was the equivalent of the grocery store in Italy, to get food or to see the doctor. That was it. Or maybe I had to take your dog to the vet. And, because we were talking about why so many people have dogs. That's what he was saying. So many people have dogs now. He said there are all these COVID puppies. And we got COVID puppies and dogs here, I think, because we were isolated and maybe alone and had the time and energy to put into a puppy. They got them, he said, so that we could walk outside. So you could leave.
Right. That was the reason.
Yeah.
It was one of the moments of grace where they were able to okay, you can go walk your dog.
If you had a dog, you could walk your dog and you could leave your apartment.
Yeah.
Right. He said, yeah. And people would leave their condos at night when the police weren't around. And people were telling on each other, but then they stopped telling on each other because everybody realized they were going stir crazy. Do you remember that? He was saying the police were patrolling the neighborhood to make sure that there was nobody outside. I mean, you would talk about for some people, that would just be like soul sucking for who we are wired as social creatures, right?
Yeah.
What a difficult time.
You know, I've been doing a lot of reading and whatnot on World War I, World War II, and not so much different, right? In being isolated in your home and afraid.
Oh my gosh.
To go out.
Well, that's a different level of fear.
It's a different level of fear.
But people were very afraid during COVID.
Yeah. And you didn't want to go out. You didn't want to get in trouble. You didn't want to get sick. So what'd you do? You either snuck out late at night or you didn't go.
We didn't have that here. We were outside all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a yard. So we had our backyard. We could sit outside and eat and lie in the sun. And everybody was out walking. You weren't getting close to each other, but everybody was out walking. And we weren't going to the stores. We were going to restaurants. We just had to put masks on. Not that
You had
much,
to
but
be
we were.
mindful of the traffic patterns in the store, right? Everything was a one
Yeah.
way and it
But
was
you still could do it
goofy.
versus the
Yeah.
Europeans and
You
other
could.
parts of the world.
Yeah.
And we still could go to restaurants.
Yeah.
You just had to wear a mask until you started eating, which is kind of silly now
Yeah.
you think
And
about
you
it.
were
But
outside. At the beginning, you were
right,
eating outside
right,
only. Yeah.
right. So loneliness became front page news again. I'm going to just give you all a little bit of quick history about what's going on and why we're talking about loneliness again. So this was launched in November of 2023 and it's running now through 2026. There's a 3-year commission that's been co-chaired by the U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, and the African Union Youth Envoy, Chido Mapemba. There are 11 commissioners that span the governments of Sweden, Japan, Morocco. That's government section. The tech section is Google's chief health officer and the disability advocate, Haben Girma. So the brief that they came out with recently was they wanted to turn loneliness from a air quote silent epidemic into a resourced global health priority. They want to map proven interventions and are publishing a flagship report that should be out by, I think, July of this year. So, why the splashy coverage? Why is this happening right now? Well, it started because Vivek Murthy likened loneliness as the equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So, there you go. Loneliness and
Wow.
isolation is the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So, here are the hard numbers. The Meta Gallup's 2024 poll showed that 24% of the world feels lonely. 24% of the world feels lonely, and 74% of Americans don't feel connected to their community. 74%. That's a massive number of us Americans don't feel connected to our community. What we're finding is that social research, it raises all-cause mortality as much as obesity or heavy drinking, per the Holt-Lundstedt meta-analysis that underpinned the World Health Organization's brief. This is big news, and people in the health and wellness space, I'm sure Peter Attia, all the gurus in podcasting, they're talking about it. It's a really big deal. This is the post-pandemic zeitgeist. So here it is with remote work, single person households, and air quote, virtual everything surging the way it is. And you and I are both guilty of it. Outlets from CNN to Wired frame connection as the next well being frontier. So loneliness is a big deal. And this remote work and us being at home a lot more, it is really, COVID did something to all of us where it hasn't completely changed. So I've been affected by it. You haven't as much because you are back in the office 5 days a week. I lost my office in March of 2020. I never went back. I gave up my lease. And I just never went back because I did get used to, we turned this part of the house into my home office and podcasting space. What is interesting is that I was 95% in office with all of my clients. So that meant you were a Chicagoland area person who was coming to see me. People were driving 5 minutes, people were driving an hour to see me. So Chicago and the suburbs. I wasn't seeing anybody online, and there were rules around that at that time with HIPAA and the state of Illinois and what you could and couldn't do. So, but I was seeing, I think, 1 or 2 college kids who'd gone away to school in other states, and I was their therapist. And so this is more for the psychotherapy piece of my practice. I was a therapist, and they wanted to continue with me, and that was allowed.
And was it initially video or was it phone?
It had been video. I
Okay.
was in a HIPAA compliant video for those clients. So COVID hits, and then my coaching clients were coming to me as well. I mean, everybody was coming to see me. COVID hits, I go on to, I think it was Zoom because the laws were loosened as far as being a mental health professional here. Life coaching doesn't have the laws and the rules that a licensed mental health person does, but they laxed the rules and just said, do whatever you need to do to see people for the most part. And I'm generalizing. Just figured out a way to see your clients. My practice went down from March of 2020 to I'd say July of 2020. My practice went down probably 80%. I mean, I don't work, I don't get paid. And I was stressed out, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
I was
totally.
pretty stressed.
Yeah.
No coaching clients, no therapy clients. I'm not going to go on Zoom and this thing's going to be over really soon. We all thought it'd be over in a month or two. Like, I'm taking a break.
It was like a mini vacation.
Yeah. And
in everybody's mind.
yes.
Yeah.
And the 20% who stayed with me were truly in crisis and really could not afford to.
Yeah.
So those were therapy clients. And they're like, no, 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 I need to keep this with you. The other 80%, I'm good for now. I will need to see you again, but I'm going to wait this out. I'm not doing the whole online thing, Anna. By July of 2020, everyone was back and then some. I could not take on the people that were reaching out to me. Everybody was realizing, OMG, this is not changing. Holy shit, I need to go back and I need to see my therapist and my life coach. And that's exactly what happened. Especially therapists, they could not keep up with the demand for psychotherapy. It was really a problem. And I think today it's gotten better, but it still is because of this loneliness and this isolation.
Yeah. Well, that initial shock from March to July, that's the period you're talking about.
This will pass.
Those,
it's okay.
Yeah, but everybody, at first it was like, oh, this is wonderful for lots of folks, not everybody. But then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, wait a second.
Well, there was a worry. There was, I think, this white noise of worry that was happening for people where there just was this low hum of when is this going to be over? Yes, there were a lot of people who were exasperated and rolling their eyes, and there were conspiracy theorists all over the place, and that'll never change. Many, many people were worried and worried for their mental health, worried for the mental health of their children, their teenagers, their young adults, themselves. And it was pervasive. You could feel it. And we as therapists could feel it when they all came back. So by July, insane. And everybody's going, all right, I'll do what I have to do. I'll do what I have to do. So now fast forward to 2025, 80% of my clients are online. 20% come here. And these are people who live in our town and live in neighboring towns. They're like, nah, I'm good. I've got really used to this, Anna, and I like talking to you in my bedroom or in my home office or in my porch. I didn't have to get in the car. I'm not getting stuck by a train. I don't have to look for parking. So I never went back to an office.
Yeah. So what's that all about? Is it convenience?
I think we've all gotten used to this digital era, but I think there's a downside, and that's what we're going to get into. I mean, I've been affected by it.
Yeah.
I am engaged and I love seeing my clients, whether they're here live with me, which I do love because I see body language, I see hands, I see the micro expressions that I cannot see on a Zoom call. And the benefit of Zoom is that I've got clients all over the world.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons to both. But for me personally, I'm here all the time. And that's been hard for me.
Well, you are still arguably isolated.
Unless I make an effort, yes.
Unless you make an effort. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. So I have to make an effort. We have a home gym, which we also built during COVID. So I've got my gym, I've got my office, I've got everything I need here. And when I was in my office years ago, it was a 10-minute drive to my office in the neighboring town. It's so silly to really think about, but at the same time, when I had to take a shower, like I do now, of course, and get dressed and get ready for work, but then I'm rushing to close the house up, get in my car, get to my office in time to look at my schedule for the day, settle myself down, get my coffee, maybe go pee, get myself mentally prepared for the clients that were coming in. Here's the thing. I saw Peggy, our 93-year-old secretary was there, who'd always be like, Anna, you got a minute? Can you come help me with the printer? The paper's stuck. And I'd be like, oh, Peggy, right now. You know, I mean, the little things that kind of like, annoyed me.
Yeah.
I miss.
Yeah.
I miss so much. I miss seeing her face. I miss her talking to me, just chatting about her day. I miss seeing my colleagues hanging out. We're all leaning against our door frames in between clients. Hey, how you doing? Hey, would you got a minute later? I'd love to run this case by you. I'm really stuck on something. Or what are you doing this weekend? Oh, how was your trip? None of that. It was eye contact. It was looking and seeing everybody. It was the senior owner of the practice who was like a surrogate father to me, checking in on me and, Hannah, how you doing? It was like a hug seeing him, Ellie.
Yeah.
That's all gone.
Yeah.
I don't have any of that anymore. And I've been thinking over these years, there's a lot to the eye contact. And even just a quick 15-second, hey, how you doing? I'll see you later. Because you're running in, you're grabbing your next client, you're shutting your door. That's all changed.
So there's a whole nother world of this, a different view. You've got your age and our age, our experience going through that.
Right.
Right. You've got those that were trying to graduate from college or high school during that exact same time. You've got those that were like 5 and under at that time. And you and I have talked about this ad nauseum. But there are still today fallout moments from that time because of that. So if I was 5 back in 2020, I'm 10. If all I knew was video for a period of time,
right,
that's my normal.
There's been issues around that.
Correct.
Developmental issues.
Yes.
Social, emotional learning issues.
Yeah.
With some of those little kids. And I don't know what the research is today in 2025. I don't know what they're studying it, if they've caught up. I don't know. I think there are still some delays. And I'm not sure. So I really can't speak to that.
Yeah.
I do know what we were seeing back in 2021 was social emotional learning delays in kids
Yeah.
with the masks and not being able to read faces and the social cues. I did know that. And learning was way behind. Because how do you teach a kid? I mean, our number 4, Grafton, was here. He came home from Florida State in March. So he was a freshman. He was here in March. So it was you and me and Grafton who were here for months together alone. I was working, seeing clients. He was doing school up in his bedroom upstairs as a freshman. And you were home, but you were in and out because you were on location working. You were doing different things at that time. And by July of 2020, thank you very little, Grafton gave us COVID because he was going stir crazy and these kids were going out. And he went to a party and got COVID and gave it to us. What was he? How old was he then? 19? He came home,
Probably.
he had a cough. I'm like, OMG, get away from me. I'm so mad at you. Like, and I knew he went to a party, like a huge party outside, but it was like a spreading event. He got it.
A spreading event.
It was a spreading event. It was a spreading event. And I was
the words that have come out of that time are.
I know. And I haven't said
fun.
that probably in years, but it was a spreading event. He came home. He had a cough. He said, I don't feel great. But the next day he was fine. I go, get away from me. Get away from me. I do not want to get sick. Stay away from me. But, we're sharing a house together. I just couldn't be that neurotic wiping things down. You try to live your life and be normal, so to speak, right? Well, lo and behold, I got sick and you got sick and we were on our asses for a month. We got so sick with that first wave of COVID and he was fine a day later. And then you and I are like lying flat on the couch for 2 weeks and I had all the aches and pains, like my head was in a vice and you had all the respiratory issues. So by August, he's like, I got to get out of here. I'm going back to Florida. We're like, yeah, you go. He was great. It was great having him here, but he just felt like I can't live like this in this sort of isolation. So he drove back to Florida where there was no COVID down there.
Yeah, they were lucky they didn't have it.
Yeah. No, they did. But they had different policies about how they handled it. And I'm not judging and I'm not going to knock it because I went there in February of 2021. And of course I had COVID. It was amazing. It was amazing. But just being in that warmer weather was helpful. The AG1 you've heard me talking about for so long just went through a major upgrade. AG1's Next Gen is here. So what is Next Gen? It is a daily health drink clinically shown to support gut health and close common nutrient gaps, even in the healthiest of eaters. With 5 new probiotic strains and additional vitamins and minerals, AG1 Next Gen represents the biggest step forward for daily foundational nutrition. 1 scoop in the morning with 8 to 12 ounces of cold water adds up to whole body health from vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and whole food sourced ingredients. AG1's Next Gen is now one of the most clinically backed greens powders. Can you believe it? They went above and beyond the industry standard in testing and have made a great product even better. AG1, it's been a game changer for me for my mornings. It sets the tone for my day, helps me feel my best, and I genuinely look forward to drinking it in the morning. Now clinically backed with an advanced formula, this is a perfect time to try AG1 if you haven't already. I've been drinking AG1 for more than 5 years now, and I'm so happy that I am partnering with them. So subscribe today to get the Next Gen of AG1. If you use my link, you're also going to get a free bottle of AG D3K2, an AG1 welcome kit, and 5 of the upgraded AG1 travel packs with your first order. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/Anna to get started with AG1's Next Gen and notice the benefits for yourself. That's drinkag1.com/Anna. We're going to talk today about how do you deal with loneliness today. So that was COVID. That started it. All of us, I think, on this downward spiral. And I'm going to talk about ways to move out of it. All right. So this is helpful for me because I have made an effort in 2024 to really come out of being just in my home all the time because I'm an extroverted individual. I need to be around humans. I need to see people. I need to make eye contact with people. That really does make a difference in my mental health. I know it to be true. So I want all of you who are watching and thinking about this or listening to this to think about when I go through this list of things you can do, try to pick out 1 or 2 things that might work for you, okay? Because there's a nice list here. I'm going to go through them quickly. I may not be able to get to all of them, but I'm going to talk about the ones that I think might be really helpful for you, okay? Because this is something I think we need to work on. We all need to take action and make changes. If you're feeling alone, if you're feeling lonely, you feel like things have dropped off, whether it be about COVID or it not be about COVID, okay? Maybe things have changed in your whole social network since COVID. Maybe you've moved and maybe you've grown up. Maybe you have a new job. Who knows? Maybe you've moved out of your parents' home. Maybe you've gotten divorced. It could be all kinds of things. I want you to think about some of the different tactics that you can use to expand your social network, to move out of loneliness. All right. So, this is something that I do. And I think it's so, so very important. So, next time you go out, number one, next time you go out to run an errand, I want you to give 5 strangers eye contact in a nod. 5 strangers. You're going into Whole Foods, you're going into the Piggly Wiggly, you're going into Trader Joe's, you're going into Walgreens, CVS. I want you to look at 5 people and give them a quick nod hello, or just nod at them. Eye contact makes all the difference in the world. When I make eye contact with people in the elevator, it does make a difference. Why are you smiling or laughing? I see you smirking over there.
Because you say this, and there's some people out there listening right now that are like, well, that's my normal. Like, that's how I roll in life. Like, of course,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Like, why would I not do that? And then there's a whole nother group.
And there's many, many
that
people
are like,
who eyes are down.
oh my gosh, that's
I know.
terrifying.
I
Like,
know.
I have to actually look at somebody.
I know. So
that's wild.
And I knew that when I was writing this. For those of you who are the latter, who are like, oh my gosh, no way, Anna. I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you to take action. I understand that it's hard for you. If you're more of an introvert, this is hard. I want you to make eye contact with 2 people then. Just look at them. Give a little smile. Nod. I'm challenging you to change your behavior. That's how it starts. Take action. Change your behavior first. The feelings drag behind. Change your behavior. Drag the feelings. Change your behavior. Drag the feelings. Go write that down. I've been telling people this for 25 years. It's true.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel your way out of not being lonely. You're not going to feel your way out of being alone. You're going to take action and you're going to change your behavior. Then you're going to feel better later because somebody looked at you and smiled back at you. Someone said, good morning. Hi. Someone held the door for you. You looked at them. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Or they just nodded at you.
Yeah.
All right. So these are low stakes practices. All right. So this is a low stakes practice, which I think most of us can do. It desensitizes the threat circuits in your brain and reprimes the ventral vagal social engagement system. And I had to write that down. This is a low stakes practice. Almost all of us can do this. Okay. So that's your micro hello challenge, number 1.
Making that statement right now, you're saying that to the person, they should do that. It's going to help them become less whatever, right?
Feeling alone.
Less lonely, potentially. Yeah. But also there's a flip side to that. It's like what it does for the person that you actually give eye contact to. What about that?
Exactly. It's pay it forward.
Yeah.
You have no idea that you making eye contact and a good morning or just a smile or a nod, what that did for that person. You have no idea.
Yeah.
It's just showing kindness to another human being. You have no idea what's going on with them that day. So remember that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's a double takeaway potentially.
And you're going to get people who are not going to smile back at you or not going to look at you. That's okay.
But that's on them.
You did it. That's on them.
Yeah.
Right. That's number 1, the micro hello challenge. Number 2 is I want you to do the feelings first text. So I want you to text some people this week. I want you to think about maybe take 2 or 3 friends and I want you to text them. Okay. Not just say, hey, how are you? Because that's kind of weird. I want you to say something to them, a thought that you had about them this week. So I do this quite a bit and I love this. It feels so good when you get this. Hey, how are you? Okay. Hi. I've been thinking about you. And sometimes a picture will come up. I'll be scrolling through my phone. I'll see an old picture or something will come up on like Facebook and I'll screenshot it, and it has the date on it from Facebook and I'll send that to them. Hey, thinking about you. Love this picture of us. You're thinking about something funny the other day. Yeah. Just anything. That there are memories that go through your mind throughout the day that remind you of a current friend or somebody that you haven't talked to in quite a while. It's just a feel good. It feels good for you to do it, and it really feels good to receive it.
Yeah.
Somebody's thinking about you with this positive regard.
Yeah. That's a good on you for Facebook too, that they do that.
Right.
right? They threw up like 7 years ago today. Like,
There you go.
and you're
That's
like,
what I do. I
I do it
screenshot
all the
it.
time. I screenshot it, I crop it,
Yep.
and I'll send it out. Like, can you believe this was 7 years
Yeah.
ago or whatever? You know?
It's a dopamine hit for us. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, what a fun picture. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that was 7 years ago.
Right. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And the person thought of you and they took the time to do it.
Right.
Right. Okay. So if you are somebody who wants to grow your social network or you need to reactivate your friend group, because we've been talking here about COVID, but there could be anything in your life that's gotten you to a place where maybe you've just bowed out for a little bit. Maybe you had some mental health issues. Maybe you were dealing with a crisis in your life. Maybe you were taking care of aging parents. You were going through a dark time in a relationship, anything. And you know, at some level, I got to get back out there, but I've kind of blown off all my friends. Here's some things that you can do. Like number one, we said send the memory photo. I think that's a really good one. If you've listened to a podcast like this one that's relevant, send them. I do this. I'll share an episode of a podcast that I think, oh my gosh, it totally reminds me. I remember talking to her about this, a while ago, or this is a great, I know they love World War II, whatever, or they love anything about Vietnam. I will send the link. I think you would love this.
Yeah.
Whether they listen to it or they don't, you hope they do, but it's, hey, I'm thinking about you. I thought about you today.
Right.
It's such a good, warm feeling. Okay. And then I think you could say, hey, would you be willing to get on a call with me, a 15-minute call, or let's chat for a few minutes? Sometimes that's helpful for people. People are like, sure, I'll do it. Invite them to a call. Invite people to have a call with you to get reacquainted. All right.
I like
It works.
that. That's you potentially stepping out of your comfort box. You're taking a chance that if for you, it might not feel good. Like something might go wrong.
That's you. That's a little bit more of you taking a risk.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, are you free to chat? I say that all the time. Are you free to chat for 15 minutes? It's, a lot of times people are not. But
I think more so.
There will be times people are like, sure, I can chat. I say 15 minutes because I don't want them to think I'm taking up or 10 or 15 minutes. I don't want them to think, oh God, she's going to want to talk to me for 30 minutes. Like she wants to talk for No, I don't want to talk for 30 minutes
Right.
either because we're all busy. Everybody's busy, right? We're all busy today.
Yeah.
Everybody says it, but you're not too busy to talk to somebody for 10 or 15 minutes and you're not too busy to take that call. Now, sometimes I can't do it right now, but I'm like, no, but tonight I can. I do it with my sisters all the time. Tonight at 7, I'm free, or tonight after dinner, like whatever time, I'll give them a range and we'll do it then. So I think that when we're going through periods in our lives when we feel like we have no friends, I think it's important that we remember that loneliness often stems from our perceived abandonment. We perceive that we've been abandoned. And these are structured like small touches for you to increase the perception of availability, of your availability and others' availability towards you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if we're doing this all up in our heads, we perceive that we've been abandoned by people. Well, that might not necessarily be true.
Right.
Right?
We are good at making up stories.
We really are. I'm going to get into this. Yeah. We call it the 3-touch connection. The next one, I've said this on here before, volunteer. Look for a volunteer skill match. So really think about something that you would enjoy doing maybe for 1, 2, 3 hours a week. Sometimes I would say a week or twice a month. Once a month, it's going to be harder to really feeling connected to people. But I would say go for 2 hours a week. Go for 2 hours every 2 weeks. Think about what it is you enjoy doing. Do you enjoy putting packages together, care packages together for people in nursing homes, getting together with a group of other people who do that? Do you enjoy animals? Hey, these rescues, they always need volunteers. Do you like cats? Do you like dogs? Do you like animals? Work at a rescue. They're looking for volunteers. Meals on Wheels. Meals on Wheels is always looking for drivers. And you get to see these people are shut-ins. You want to talk about real loneliness? These are some of the elderly. That's a population that you are attracted to. Meals on Wheels, I'm going to name that one, but there's so many ways you can volunteer in a senior center, in a nursing home. Senior centers always need volunteers, right?
Totally.
And they run all like the mahjong and the bridge. They run the different activities.
Yeah.
They need volunteers.
Yeah. And you could probably make an argument that demographic does not want to be lonely. They're like yearning for anybody to come around and talk to them or do something, right?
I used to use Meals on Wheels all the time when I worked in oncology. I would give references to the family members or sometimes a cute little elderly cancer patient because we were concerned because they were losing weight. And we were thinking, there's no family around. We've got to get food into them. So I would call Meals on Wheels and help with the patient get it set up for them so that they had it. And then I loved it because the Meals on Wheels driver, whoever the driver was, would call me. And if they had concerns, they'd let me know. listen, there's no food in that place, or there's like no furniture, or the place is a mess, or I'm really concerned about them. I don't know if they're eating. So it's just a way to stay connected. And here's this little community because I had a relationship with the patient. I called Meals on Wheels. Not all the time, the driver would get back to me. And these are people who just had time on their hands. These were stay-at-home moms. These are people who were retired, who were these drivers who'd go get the lunches. And you could sign up for like a breakfast lunch. I think it was a breakfast or a lunch is what they did. So there you go. I mean, there's a wonderful, you could volunteer in mental health community centers. There's different ways that you could put yourself out there. You can serve in a soup kitchen. I said this before a few weeks ago. There's a need to tutor for the underprivileged individuals, children. The list goes on and on. Think about what it is that might be of interest to you, and you're going to find a community of other volunteers who are there with you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You've got a connection once a week, and you've got conversation, and you may get some friends out of that.
Right.
Next thing you know, you're going for coffee and you're meeting for dinner.
There you go.
Really, really important. So the volunteer skills match. All right, we're not going to have time to get into all these, but I want to talk to you about, this is a cute one. I don't know, the 2-chair co-working, which I saw this. So this is where you pick a cafe with a big table, like all our Starbucks and all the coffee shops around here usually have one big table. And if you're in a neighborhood forum, like let's say, or we have this big neighborhood text group here, or there's like the Deerfield or the Highland Park, whatever, the communities that were in Naperville moms group.
Yeah.
And you could post, hey, you could be very vulnerable and say, hey, I've been dealing with a little bit of loneliness lately, or would love to meet some new people. I see you on here. If anybody has some work that needs to be done, let's set up a co-working space. Now you can go to a co-working space, and not knocking co-working spaces, but some of them around here are really beautiful, but you're not paying a lot of money for them. I mean, I would go to Starbucks and just get a big table and say the professional women's group and the moms group, anybody has 2 hours of work they need done, I'm going to be at Starbucks at the corner of Smith and Jones Street at 9 a.m. Thursday morning. Come meet me and we'll just work together. That's a great way for you if you're more shy or more introverted. Yes, you say hello, you're making eye contact, but you're working quietly. You're not talking.
Yeah.
You don't have to talk to people. Everybody's got their laptop up and they're working, but you're with other people. That's low stakes.
It could work.
It's low stakes.
You're taking two people that maybe struggle with this and you're throwing it out there, and both parties have to be all in on it. Both parties have to show.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
One person will show.
Yeah.
You may not get 8 people, but you're going to get 1 or 2 people who are going to show.
Yeah.
I have done this, and when I have done it, it does make a huge difference because you're saying hello and you're chit-chatting a little bit, but you are working quietly. You could even do it at the library. You can rent a room at the library and just get a big table. Why do you have this smirky look on your face the entire time I'm talking today? You have another thought going on. Why are you laughing?
I don't. I'm just envisioning how that would go. Like, you're asking a person who's lonely and maybe a bit shy to throw this out there, this idea out there to someone else who's in the same boat, and hope that more than 2 people will show up.
And you have to take the risk.
Yeah,
we have to take the risk. I know you're laughing like, oh, who's going to do that? Many of you are not, but some of you will. And that's what matters. If you don't make these changes in your life, you're not going to have friends.
Yeah.
If you don't take action, do these things, then there you go.
Yeah.
You're still at home.
Yeah.
You're still isolated in your cubicle at work the days that you are there because you're hybrid. Many of you are hybrid or fully remote today. There you go.
I think I'm smirking because that is so opposite.
You have to work. I'm going to go off on my coaching soapbox right now because I say this to all of my coaching clients. If you don't make changes, change your behavior, don't expect anything to be different. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. You can't keep doing the same things you've been doing. If you're lonely and you're depressed and you're isolated, you're going to continue to stay there. And I don't want that for you. I want you to feel all that this life has to offer. There's so many people out there who are just like you, who are alone and are lonely, but we just need one person to take that chance and to take that risk. One person to post in a Facebook group or your, whatever it is, your
next door
app to say, hey, I'm going to be at Starbucks. I would love to meet new friends. I've seen people in the local Facebook group say that. And I love that vulnerability and authenticity. They've said, hey, I'm struggling with friends. I moved up to the area. I moved here during COVID, or I moved and I have little toddlers at home. I've been like up to my eyeballs in diapers. I'm lonely and I need to meet new people. I would love to meet you. And you would be amazed at the people, the thread, like 300 count thread of people who are like, me, I would love to meet you. I'm lonely too. So this is a real thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, you can kind of smirk at it a little bit, but I think you have to take action or you're not going to have
Yeah.
friends.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, I think you
I think
have
you
to.
personally wouldn't do it. I don't know if you would do it, Tim. I would do it.
Would I do it? I mean, I would do it. I wouldn't have a problem doing it. I think sometimes the person that needs to do it would pause, right?
And this is exactly who this is for.
They're the ones that need the
Yeah.
nudge, like the little bump
Right.
to be like, just take a chance.
This is exactly
right?
who this is
Get
for.
out of your
Right.
box for a moment. Get out of your box with this other person that needs to get out of their box.
So I'm going through the whole list here, and so that might be one that you're like, yeah, no, hell no, I ain't doing do that. Like I'm not doing that. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
But there are other ones that I'm going through here that you can do for yourself. All right. So
like your perception is it's not as risky for you. It's like that seems a little much for me.
Right.
But that one, oh yeah, I could do
the
that.
micro hello challenge, that's a low stakes one.
Yeah.
The texting people that you already have a relationship with that you haven't spoken to in a while. Hey, I'm thinking about you. There you go. There's a low stakes one. The volunteer skills match, that's another one. That might be something that you can do that in the privacy of your home. Look up volunteer opportunities in your community, and you have to show up. You have to go, and you have to call somebody or email somebody. Then you got to go to the orientation. You have to go.
Yeah.
This is how we get out of loneliness. All right. So I wanted to go into a little bit the importance of what's going on in our mind. So now we're going to work on rewiring our social cognition. If this is something that I'm feeling lonely, here's your task. Each evening, I want you to write one sentence about how someone else may have interpreted your day's interactions in a positive way. So I want you to journal, take somebody else, your best friend, your mom, or take an imaginary figure and have them look at your life, your daily life, and have them write about how you looked in a certain social situation. So those are people who maybe you're working remote, maybe you did go out with some friends, you haven't seen in a while, you made an effort, and you're beating yourself up in your head going, why did I say that? I shouldn't have said that. That was so stupid. They're going to think, oh, that was so dumb. I talked too much or I didn't make eye contact enough. Here comes all the negative downward spiral. So when you bring in another person in your mind, I'll think of one of my sisters and I maybe would tell them, and I didn't think you talked too much. I didn't think you were that way at all. That really helps because what that's doing is it's interpreting bias away from threat, which is a key target in CBT for loneliness studies. So there's CBT for loneliness work that you can do, cognitive behavioral therapy for loneliness. And when you use another perspective, like a third person perspective, who's certainly like looking in at you, they may not see you the way you see you. That really does help you with your social cognition. Maybe I didn't say the wrong thing. What I tell myself, and you all have heard me on this podcast before, maybe nobody did really think twice about what I said because no one cares. I'll say that all the time. That does help me. Like, Anna, no, because we're all self-centered individuals as humans. And most of us are not sitting around thinking about the other people we met at dinner or that we know at dinner or a coffee or drinks or at a staff meeting and are sitting at their desk or driving home from work or, or back on doing their busy work going, that person why they say that they're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're thinking about themselves.
Right.
Right.
Well, it's like you always say, it's like the most critical person of you is you. I think that's what you're trying to say is like, don't worry about what you think is happening that you have absolutely no control over. It's not happening.
And then the next one is to take the self-compassion break. So before you're going to go into an event and you're nervous, an event could be anything. I mean, it could be like dinner with one other person. It could be something with 20 people. It could be getting back together with family members. It could be anything. I want you to tell yourself, others are nervous. Others are nervous too. I'm not the only one who feels this way. Okay. That's really important for you. Like I put my hand on my heart and say, others feel nervous too. And I'm learning connection. That helps. It reduces the self-critical rumination that many of us are doing. Like we're ruminating, we're obsessing, we're thinking about, oh my God, this is really, really hard. I don't want to do this. They're going to think I look stupid. It brings you towards more of like an outward focus.
Yeah. Because you think about it, sometimes you get into settings like that. And from the outside, it looks like a lot of the times for some people, it's so easy for them. It's so easy for them. They come to this event. They're very social. They're able to engage in conversations. And they kind of air quotes work the room. Feels like they just have it down.
That's the thing, is that it air quote feels like everybody around you is an extrovert and they know how to socialize and they're like, a little politician who's working the room. No, that is not the truth.
Yeah.
You would be surprised at people that I meet at networking events who I've gotten to know who have said, this is really hard for me. Or I'm like, you don't see it, but I'm sweating underneath my clothes here. Like, I'm not taking my coat off, my jacket off, because I'm pitting out.
Yeah.
Because I'm perspiring in my armpits, and that's so embarrassing. I don't want you to see it. It's not easy. It's not easy for most people.
Yeah.
Remember that. Like I just said, I'll tell myself, other people are nervous too. This is hard. I want to end with the one that I think is actually really, really important that I use all the time with both therapy and coaching clients. When you say to yourself something like, so this is a tactic, I'm going to name it for you in a minute. When you say to yourself, nobody likes me, or that was stupid what I said, I want you to go into cognitive diffusion, DEFUSION, cognitive diffusion. Cognitive diffusion is a skill that we use in cognitive behavioral therapy. Take your thought, and if you can watch me on YouTube, you're going to watch me doing this. It's like a thought bubble, like the cartoons. You've got a thought bubble next to you. So you're taking the thought out of your own head. You're bringing it beside you in a thought bubble. You're looking at it and you're saying, I'm having the thought that I sounded stupid. I'm having the thought that maybe that was dumb. It removes the thought from it being me. I think I'm stupid. I'm stupid. No. Take it outside of you. Cognitive diffusion. I'm having the thought that that sounded stupid. All right. You could sit with that. I take this back. This is acceptance and commitment therapy. It's ACT is what we call it. I'm having the thought that. Really important. And I use it all the time with my clients. I teach this, teaching all of you now, and I use it. So when you're really going into this downward spiral of worry, anxiety, negativity, I want you to do this. Try it. I would love to hear from you how this works for you. I'm having the thought that she's mad at me. Rather than saying she's mad at me. She's mad at me. I know she's mad at me. I know she's mad at me. I'm having the thought that she's mad at me. All right. Sit with that. Yeah. Look at it. Now what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Because it might not be right.
Exactly. It does help. All right. So when we move out of it, it separates the thought from yourself. And what it's doing is it's weakening the avoidance behavior. It weakens avoidance behavior when you're saying, I'm just having the thought that. Okay. So I could go on and on. We've been doing this for quite a bit. And last but not least, if you really feel like I need more help with this, like, Anna, this is great, and I need more, reach out to me. I would be happy to work with you one-on-one in teaching you more of these skills that I've been teaching to my clients for years. It's nuance, okay? So there's always nuance for all of you. Some of these may be like, yeah, maybe there's one thing in there that would work for me, and I need more. I got more. I can't get into it today. So it's nuance for everybody. Everybody has different needs, and I can help you with that. If you are open to it, you could also join like a therapy group in your community. There are different support groups / therapy education groups, psychoeducation groups that are probably in your area that you can find. I mean, just Google psychoeducation support group, and you may find ones in your community. If you're in a really rural area, then you might want to work with somebody online or via Zoom, and reach out to me and let's see if I'd be a good fit for you, because there's lots and lots here I can teach you to move out of this feeling of loneliness that so many of us in the world today are dealing with.
Right.
All right.
There you go.
I hope that that's helpful for all of you. All right. If you take one tip from today's episode, you're ahead of a lot of people.
Or just try one today.
Or try one.
That's the challenge. Like, go try one. Right?
So yes. And that, as always, you are charged. Those of you who are listening and watching, you are charged with taking action, doing, not just listening. I want you to do. I want you to take that step forward. I want you to change these different behaviors that are happening for you. Okay. You will see changes in your life. No one said it was easy. It's hard work. You can do it. All right, everyone. Mad love. Till next time.